Welcome to Selling Seven Figures Top Performers Tell All, hosted by Kevin Mullaney. Each month, we're diving deep to uncover the secrets of selling big, closing smart, and hitting your highest goals. One guest, one mission. Let's make more money. Ready? Let's go. Let's go.
I just love it when a plan comes together. Intro done. Here we go. Welcome to Selling Seven Figures. Top Performers Tell All. I am your provocative podcast prodigy, Kevin Mullaney. And with us today, very excited to have a rising star, maybe more so a comet of comedy, content, and promotional collateral. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Natalie O Leary to the stage.
Wow, that is the best intro I've ever gotten. Hi, thank you for having me, Kevin. You are so fun.
I am a decent time. Don't let the balloons fool you. They're not there full time. It's my daughter's birthday today, and we're going to be able to celebrate. But we're going to celebrate today on the pod today. Episode number 2. Natalie is joining us from Texas, correct?
Yep, right outside of Houston, the Woodlands, Texas.
All right, beautiful. So everyone knows when you meet a couple out at a restaurant, you always ask, how did you two meet? But in this podcast, we always like to find out how you got into the industry. This question for you is a little different. It's not so much how, but where. Tell me a little bit about how you met someone or how you got into the promotional products industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was in my 20s, I was dating my now husband, and I was working in the waste and environmental industry in Houston. And ironically, so was he. So we were at his company's rodeo suite. Most people have probably heard of the Houston Rodeo. So we were there listening to some country music singer, I'm sure. And I met a person in the industry and went on to work for that company. It's a family-owned business here in the Woodlands for about 9.5 years. So that's how I got into promo.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, nothing says you're from Houston than when you're going out and you're meeting your future career and your future husband at a rodeo. That's amazing.
Well, I love that you have props. That's a little Crocodile Dundee. I don't know about actual cowboy hat, but we'll go with it. I should have brought mine.
I got it in Texas. So that's all I can say for it. But you're absolutely right. So America loves a comeback story. And in this top selling performers, what we're really trying to figure out is a little bit more about how you've done it and kind of the story behind the brand, if you will. So you were highly successful in distributor sales. You just mentioned it for about 10 years. And then like in the movie, The Usual Suspects, Kaiser Sose, you vanished. You went away. Okay? So tell me why you went away from the industry and then what brought you back.
Yeah. So I, started my family in 2017, rushed right back to work after my son was about 6 weeks old. I'm sure a lot of parents listening to this right now can relate. That is a very hard thing to do as a human. And then, welcome my second child a couple years later. And then when my husband and I started thinking about if we wanted to bring a third little life into the world, I just kind of really started to reevaluate like where I was at, really think about, taking some time to be with my family. So just ahead of her birth, I decided to step away. Took a little pause, I guess, as they say, and really wanted to just focus on my family. Didn't want to rush back again. And so that's what I did. So in 2022, she was born. I took about an 8-month long break. And then, I kind of just, after a lot of thought and talking to my husband, talking to my friends, talking to my family, just started thinking, there's definitely nothing wrong with putting myself out there and seeing what's available. I'd only worked kind of with my head in the sand for a smaller organization for a long time. And I just really wanted to dive into what my options were at that point. So that's what I did, and opened up my profile on LinkedIn and had some people reach out and kind of just went on a month or 2 long quest of interviewing companies just to kind of gain a little bit of clarity about what was available for me at that time. So that's kind of how it went.
Amazing. That's awesome. And then you ended up choosing BAMKO, and talk to me a little bit about what reality started to settle in. Again, friendly reminder,
Yeah.
extremely successful for 10 years, knew everything, had all the good clients. And then now you're going over to a new company and you're starting from scratch. What was that like? What was that feeling like?
Scary, daunting. But yeah, after having talked to different organizations, I kept coming back to BAMKO for a lot of the reason that I was sort of looking for something a little bit different in my next phase of my career, was looking for a lot of support in sales, a lot of tools, a killer marketing program, great technology, so that as I came back and was able to hopefully, this again, going back to like where I was at that time, sort of the uncertainty of how it would go starting over, was looking for, just a major army behind me when I was able to grow a book of business again. And so I just kept coming back to BAMKO. It just was, it was glaringly obvious to me that they had every single pillar of what I was looking for in a company. And so that's the way that I went, and I'm glad that I did. It has obviously served me very well. As far as like getting back in and, starting over, very humbling experience. I want to be completely honest here and let everyone know. I mean, I have these conversations all the time. People reach out to me a lot, and I love chatting about people's journeys, whether it's this industry or others, but oftentimes it is in this industry. And I love hearing the stories, and a lot of people are in this kind of same boat. And so, yeah, it's just, it was the right fit for me. And it's been really great.
That's amazing. Yeah, when you talk about the BAMKO Army and the support you're looking for, they absolutely have the battleships, the cannons, the arrows. I mean, they really do have a full militia at your service. So I'm glad you found what was right for you. So now things have changed a little bit, right? You've been doing this for a couple of years under the BAMKO brand, and you're starting to win some big business, and you're starting to get some really good clients. And then now the accolades and the awards are coming in. So we're just going to roll through a couple of those. We're going to try and keep this podcast to 20 minutes. So we're probably not going to be able to cover all of the awards you've received, but it's been pretty rad to see. So PPAI Rising Star, number 2 on the online 18 list. And then I'm not sure how BAMKO does their awards, but I think it was like BAMKO Baller of the Year for year sales increases. So how does it feel making the jump and then starting to get, the shine and the flowers start to show up on the doorstep? Tell me about the affirmation. And again, if you want to kind of talk about each of those individual awards, because they're so different, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what each means to you.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think as human beings, we all just want to be seen and we all want to be heard. And, when I started kind of doing the things that I do on social media and talking about both promo and sales and things, I didn't necessarily have a roadmap for that or a plan. And it's all just kind of evolved into what it has. But, obviously for me to have the acknowledgement of my peers, like with the Rising Star, that is a, peer voted award. So when that happened, and I got to see the list of people who voted for me, and it was more than one person. And there were people that I didn't even know. I'm just like, wow, okay, like that's pretty cool. So that was super fun. And then, yes, the online 18, I mean, to be on that list at all, but to hit number 2 was insane. But what I do on social media is so fun for me. It's not a job. I don't take it too seriously. I don't set calendars. Like, people ask me all the time about it, and I'm like, dude, I just do what I feel in the moment. And honestly, that's the stuff that tends to resonate and hit more as far as views go and likes and shares or whatever. So I just do what I do. I just do what I like. And, some days I'm like, I got to get to my real job now and like not do this, but it's fun. So the minute it stops being fun, you'll probably not hear from me much. But, and then the BAMKO one was huge because, again, this experience of starting fresh and building a book of business, even though I had almost 10 years of experience in promo, was very humbling. Like, I remember the crickets chirping in my inbox, and like, I'm just like, I just have to be able to pay for my kids' daycare, which at this point costs more than my mortgage. Again, I'm going to keep it real. That's where I was. And it was very, very anxiety driving and very difficult. But I just kept at it. For lack of a better term, like, I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. I think for a while, like, I I felt like, I was made to feel like this is not yours. This is, you didn't. So I wanted to build this thing and achieve it on my own. And I have. So to get that recognition from BAMKO, the, largest year over year sales growth, because the first year I was there, I did great, but not as, considering what you consider a big book of business, not big, but then year over year, that growth, that award showed I put the time in, I grinded, I did what I needed to do, and now I'm being recognized for it. So it felt honestly the most satisfying to be a part of the 5 awards that the huge organization of BAMKO gives out at our meeting. That was a big one for me.
It's incredible. And I love the honesty and the realness. A couple things that I kind of got as a takeaway. One, kind of the pressure creates diamonds, right? You've got a lot of responsibilities back home behind you, behind that door behind you, right? That's what's real. Yeah. And I also love that on your online presence, you create that realness and it's coming off as very authentic. And what I mean by that specifically, I remember there was one video you showed. It's almost like if you've ever seen the people get the college acceptance letter come in, you opened up an email and it was very real. And you had just won an RFP and you go absolutely berserk. And what I think I know about you and our very limited interactions is that if you didn't get that RFP, I got a feeling you would have shared that video anyway, right?
Because I think it's so important to share small wins, big wins. I think it's also equally important to share. A lot of my stuff on social media is positive because that's what my life has been like the last 2 years. I'm very grateful for that. But I am just as happy to let you know the days that are hard, that are not fun, because it's all about connecting and people seeing themselves in what you're trying to say, because we've all been there. We've all had the stressful time of year in the holidays and you're trying to get Christmas gifts and plan this for your family and do your holiday gifts for customers. And we've all been there. And so I think I thought there was a lack of people being honest about what it's actually like to be in sales in our industry. And so I think it's fun to share because people connect to it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you're doing a great job with it. I also think that you've got some hidden talents. Was it show choir? Was it, where are these pipes coming from? Because when you go with the, what was it, the Pink Pony Club rendition that you did, that was really well done. How are you coming up with this?
I just hear songs and I'm like, how can this be turned into what we do here? I literally just did it yesterday too, for a new song that's out. Go check it out. But yeah, I was just listening to that song and I was like, God, it was the holidays. And I was like, if I get one more call and it's December 15th, I'm going to scream. But to answer your question, I've always loved to sing. I was in choir in college. I was in theater as a kid, and I just have always loved it, and it's fun. And no, I'm not an American Idol winning superstar singer, but I like to sing, and that's just, I'm like, whatever. And I'm not getting judged for it. I'm not winning an award. I'm just I did win an award for the karaoke contest at the leadership conference, so maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah, I think that they're singing in the shower, they're singing in the car on a nice day, and then they're singing on social media. That is very gutsy, but I think you're doing an amazing job with it. So
Thank you.
Glad you've got the hardware behind you to talk about that. Now, also, I think this is something interesting because I think it's doing well for you in one of two ways. Either the social media presence that you're offering is filling up your tank and allowing you to get back to work and have more fun, or maybe that's creating a little bit more brand awareness, right? In specifically the Texas area or amongst your clients. So just 2-part question. One, how many of your clients are following you on your different media channels? And do you ever get feedback from them there? And then 2, I always love to ask this, is there anything really that's off limits when going about your shares on social media, specifically now that you've been put on this list of Online 18, I feel like more followers, more people looking in, more people peeking in. So long-winded question, but salespeople talk.
No, that's okay. So yes, I think definitely my clients do follow me on LinkedIn. Probably more so LinkedIn than on Instagram. I try to cross reference my social posts. I'll do, pretty much the same things on both. And I think kind of that set me a little bit apart. Not that it was intentional, but it kind of has, like on LinkedIn, like, yeah, I'll post kind of goofy stuff. And I think that's okay. Like, we can only see so many serious posts. Like, everybody needs a little reprieve. And so if that's like giving me a little edge in to like get eyeballs on like what I'm trying to show that we do, that's a good thing. So I would encourage viewers to step outside your comfort zone and do it, because it might feel silly, but it's going to remind people to think of you when they need X, Y, or Z. So that's why I do it. So yes, they do follow me. People reach out, text me, hey, I saw you did this. Like, can I get some pricing on that? Can you mock it up with my stuff? So it absolutely works. I also gain clients through social media too. I'm sure people wonder that all the time, like all this effort she puts in, does she get anything out of it? Yes, I do. I had someone find me just last month through hashtags. So it absolutely works. And they're going to be a decent sized customer. So I would encourage everybody to do it. Okay. Part 2 was, what was the question again?
Great question. Anything off limits?
Oh, anything off limits. I mean, the standard stuff that you're going to not have at a dinner table either. You're not going to talk a whole lot about religion, politics, stuff like that. Like, I'm going to keep it light, real, fun, interesting, and we're going to keep it at that.
Bless you for that. And I appreciate that. That's actually how I was raised. And now all of a sudden, all my parents want to do is talk about politics and religion now. So it's very interesting that these are the people that raised me. And now we can't get off anything that's not covered on Fox News. I digress. This isn't about me. I'm not going to turn you into my leather couch therapist here. So I do appreciate that. And I think that's also very important on the professional. That's really great advice, right? Like, hey, create bridges, not barriers, to do business with you. And especially when you're trying to connect with other individuals, let's not divide people, right? Let's include people. And I'm going to get to that in a bit. But before I do that, I do want to connect one more time on the mother of 3, completely successful career. What advice would you give to the person who's, whether they're in a job right now that they're comfortable with, but, they've got the Little Mermaid vibe, that there might be something greater out there above the sea and maybe on land that they just don't know about, but they have that feeling that there might be something greater out there for them, or for the stay-at-home moms, or for the people, or stay-at-home dads that took a little bit of hiatus to focus on their family. What would be your biggest piece of advice to those people that are maybe feeling a little bit stuck or not sure if they're ready to take the leap that you did to kind of get back to work and start from scratch?
I love this question. I think this is extremely important. And I'm not trying to sound poetic or anything, but I would say the number one piece of advice I would give anybody who's feeling any type of way, whatever you're doing, working, stay at home, a hybrid, whatever you're doing, if you are feeling in your gut something pulling you, if you are just not completely feeling like your cup is all the way full in whatever you're doing, you should listen to that gut feeling, that voice. That is your sign. Whatever you believe in, higher power, whatever it is, like that is your sign that you should be chasing whatever that thing is. You might not know what it is at the moment, and that's okay, but you should absolutely consider figuring out how to take that leap of faith. And it will be scary. It will be hard. But what I can, from my own experiences, it will never be as hard during that season of growth and kind of being, I like to call it, like in the mud. It'll never be as hard as it is feeling like you're currently feeling where you're kind of staying status quo for whatever your reasons are. So I would encourage anyone always to listen to their gut and go for it and try to figure out what it is that you're needing to fulfill within you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for anyone who's seeing my eyes wander, I'm trying to figure out, I've been listening to Mel Robbins' podcast, and this is kind of exactly what Jamie Kern Lima, if you've heard that podcast, talking about. She's now built an extremely successful beauty line that's now sold for $1 billion. So long story short, it's really about trusting your gut, and there's so many good nuggets there, but I think you just provided it in the version of yourself. And again, I think the reality of it is that there is still a lot of mom and dad guilt that we have, the fact that we're probably taking 1/3 of our days away from our children, their sleep for the other third, and we've really got small windows with them. But the reality of it is, you mentioned, they've got daycare, they've got, you've got college to pay for, right? Ideally.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I had also talked about with kind of the pressure as a privilege thought process is, we used to hire, and we were building out our teams, we used to focus on really young individuals, right? And try folks that we could train. And we got really far going that route outside of the industry. But there's a lot to be said about betting on the person with a lot to lose, right? So I'm sure BAMKO looked at your portfolio, looked at your experience, and they're basically saying, like, look, she has to be successful, right? She's got 3 kids, right? Like, I think that there's a lot to be said about those folks that they've got to do it for more than themselves, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. All right. So again, we're going back to the inclusiveness, right? Like, this is one of the things that I love so much about you. And our previous podcast was with Sav. You've kind of created this ladies in promo, and I'm going to let you talk about it, but I'm not going to butcher it. But it's basically like the opposite of the Mean Girls, right? Like, it's a super inclusive group that you all created a couple years ago. Talk to me about what it is, how it started, how it's evolved, and why, again, that's important to you.
Yes. Love Sav, Merch Girly. Her and I met through the social media waves, and like, we've become really good friends. And now I guess you could say co-founders, business, not really business partners. I don't know what you call it, but just really great friends at the end of the day. And, I think we just recognize that there is a lot of need for more community in our industry. I know 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was, that I sort of was in a place like looking for, at the time I was like, I really need like a career coach or something, like, because I just was feeling a whole lot of type of ways. And like, I just needed some sort of outlet, to like be heard. And so they're just, outside of like one thing, there wasn't like a whole lot of community. So I think we sort of recognized that. And along with that, we recognize that there's a lot of creators in our space that are, trying to like, build up our industry, sort of our like microcosm here in promo. And we really felt like there was a need for like kind of exposing those people and creating a community. And so we have created an organization that we're in the process of launching, called Co-Creative Exchange. And we're super excited about it. It is an exclusive community. And our mission statement is driving the promo industry forward through connection, collaboration, and creative content. And so there's going to be more to come on that, but we really want to, drive our industry forward through connection and community. And it's, for men and women alike. If you're creating in our industry, we're wanting to have you included in our group. And yeah, so it's really fun. I have made more friends over the last 2 years, fellow distributors, large and small, suppliers, service providers. I think we just all do better together and can really grow together and learn from one another. And I just couldn't be more grateful for social media helping me create those relationships and those friendships. And it's been a lot of fun.
Natalie, this is awesome. I could talk to you all day. And again, super, super happy to hear. Not only are you, climbing your own ladder, but you're sending the elevator back down to others that are feeling the same way that you felt, and trying to make it a little bit easier than them, than just kind of taking the step-by-step approach that you had to take yourself, that you learned kind of from doing. So we're going to end this the same way that we end all of our other podcasts. We're going to talk about a senior quote. So this is for the broad, whether it's a life motto, something that you want to leave behind for the viewers that we have today. What would be your senior quote?
My quote is always the same, and it's my favorite. And it goes, there's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone. That couldn't be a truer statement, a reflection of my life and my career path thus far. And I just truly feel, once again, like I mentioned earlier, that if you kind of don't go through the hard part, you're not going to come out on the other beautiful, exciting side of where you're meant to go. So embrace it, embrace the hard, and there is no doubt that you're going to grow and come out smelling like a rose on the other side.
I really love it. That matches up with one of my favorite quotes, which is Frederick Douglass, which is "Without struggle, there is no progress." So very, very similar. Exactly right. All right. Well, it was an absolute blast hanging out with you. And I hope y'all really enjoyed the podcast today with Natalie O Leary from BAMKO. We'll be tuning in again. And again, thanks everyone. Thanks, Natalie, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. All right. Bye.
All right.